of a sudden, in a fairly populated area, they were beginning to see daily mile-long train carrying volatile crude oil. These citizens had started doing research, et cetera, so it was the tanker cars themselves were topics of discussion. Were these the safest they could be? As people saw, the rare but still occurring explosions elsewhere, could this ever happen in our community? And so, as you can imagine, people become alarmed and ask a lot of questions. A number of folks started doing their own visual inspections of bridges, worrying about whether they were being properly maintained and timely maintained. And there was a lot of discussion even about, were there things you could do to decrease the volatility of the liquid being conveyed? And the answer to that latter question, by the way, is yes. And right now, they don't do it until it reaches its destination, rather than doing it at the source in the Bakken region, where they could let off some of the most volatile gases before it's conveyed throughout the continental United States. And instead, it's done at the other end of the process, at the refinery, or at the, whether it's the Gulf Coast or somewhere on the East Coast. So these ideas have been presented, and the measure that I introduced along with my colleague Maria Cantwell from Washington State really endeavors to look at all of these issues and have a comprehensive improvement of rail safety, especially around these more hazardous energy products. Now, we have work to do, but we had some great successes, and as you said, what's next is a really important question, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we have a wonderful grant announcement that we're announcing today, as well as this group of successes in the FAST Act that were absolutely and immediately responsive to the constituents of Wisconsin who are saying, we need this to happen.
And one thing I would just add about the bridges, transparency is key here. More information and transparency is what's most important here. I don't want to give the impression that there are a lot of bridges in the state of Wisconsin or elsewhere that aren't safe, because the reality is that's probably not true. A lot of these bridges were built to hold much heavier loads than they're holding currently. And of course, the key to infrastructure is it may not always look pretty, but that doesn't mean it's not doing its job. But what railroads were doing was refusing to answer questions about the state of their bridges and the maintenance records of their bridges. And where there's a lack of information, people, for very good reason, get nervous and fearful and worried. And I drive under that bridge. My child drives under that bridge. We have to go under that bridge on the way to school. So the more information we can share with the public, in most cases, the better. They'll become more comfortable. And so the key is really not to worry that every bridge in the state of Wisconsin is in bad shape. We can certainly always do more to improve our infrastructure, but sharing the information is really key so that people can feel more comfortable about what's in their community. Makes sense?
Do you know what the trend is in the last 2, 3, 4 months about freight rail traffic, especially the oil trains? Have they cut back with lower prices, or what's sort of the trend at this point?
They're way down, which is not surprising given the price of crude at the moment. But we expect it to come back up. Just like folks who are watching the market for other reasons, we're down now, and we expect it to come back up. So traffic's down for now. But this is not the end of transporting crude by rail, because the reality is that it's a very flexible way to transport the product, and so it'll continue in the future. Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think they want us to go to see it, but you have a quick one?
One comment. First of all, thank you very much. You deserve a lot of credit for what you've done, especially for the village of Pewaukee as a resident. But I also think a lot of credit should go to your grant writers. Are they your grant writers, or are they from the village?
State of Wisconsin. Do you guys want to wave? They're the celebrities in that.
Yeah, make sure you.
So they're from the state of Wisconsin then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We're two engineers.
Engineers.
Consultants and
Excellent.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
As one who's on the ground here on this train situation, I'm down here quite a bit. Is fencing part of this program? We have a tremendous pedestrian trespassing problem out here, especially during the summer months. And we got people popping out of the bushes here and some of these walkways and so forth. And the only way this is going to get solved is to get fencing along the right-of-way on both sides
Yeah.
to make things safer.
Yeah, it's look, it's a challenge that's faced the railroads and communities along tracks for decades and decades. It's the railroad's responsibility to put up fencing. Frequently they put up fencing and then it's cut through the next day or the next week, and it is a constant problem and a constant challenge. Anyone who's listening who is tempted to cross the tracks or to walk along the tracks, it's private property, and it's dangerous. So it's incredibly dangerous, especially when we see people walking along railroad tracks with earbuds in their ears. It is just about the most dangerous thing you can do. So, agree with you, we need more fencing. It's also a problem that tends to just crop up over and over and over again.